Hey, this is Chris Jericho, and you're listening to Awesome Pod, the only wrestling pod that I listen to.
It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's Awesome Pod. It's Darcy the Mail Girl, Shorty Taylor, and Brendan Petrizzo. Explain Dynamite and Rampage, we are here.
And Mistress Harley.
Hey, this is Chris Jericho, and you're listening to Awesome Pod, the only wrestling pod that I listen to.
It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's Awesome Pod. It's Darcy the Mail Girl, Shorty Taylor, and Brendan Petrizzo. Explain Dynamite and Rampage, we are here.
And Mistress Harley.
Welcome back, Raggedy Bitches. You have joined us again at the Awesome Podcast. I'm here with my lovely host, Brendan.
How you doing? Welcome back. We are here, alive and well.
Yes, we are. I have locked Johnny and Diana in my basement. They are doing some superb owl business, some men, some ball, but they're not in their underwear. They don't even have gimmicks. Like, okay, I'm a California girl, so go California or whatever. But, like, where's the pageantry? Where are the big jackets? Where's the entrance music?
One day we'll have that. When we do a live show, we'll come out, everyone will have an entrance song. We'll build up. It'll be great.
Okay, but no ball.
Budget depending.
I want to be carried out on one of those litters like Queen Elizabeth had, or all the queens. You know, it's like a little chair and it's
I like
covered. And then all the sweaty man wrestlers with their big sweaty muscles carry me out to the ring. And then I just do a little walk and then I announce.
I like this. I
Yes.
like this.
So, but speaking of the show and announcing, we are not like other podcasts, but we
Nope.
are covering Collision, which was at the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson, Nevada, which I know is close to Las Vegas. And they are really gearing up for the Revolution pay-per-view. I really felt it this episode where everything was like Revolution, Revolution. Did you feel it?
I could feel it. I could definitely feel it. It's starting to build. It's getting a little bigger.
Yeah, I mean,
You know.
tension.
Yes, that is the American word. Yeah.
Or were you saying that the show is becoming engorged and turgid and ready
No.
for the pay-per-view?
You can feel the tension building ever so slightly.
Ooh. So, as always, AEW starts out strong. So, we got a Blackpool Combat Club and CMLL. I never remember what CMLL stands for. Do you?
CM.
LL.
Christina, Madonna,
No.
Lady Gaga, Lady
no.
Annabella.
No. So
No,
we
I'm
had...
sorry. It's Christina. No, it's Cher, Madonna, Lady
No.
Gaga, Lana Del Rey. That's what it stands for.
Focus, Brendan, focus. It's the wrestling podcast. God damn it. So
They're gonna fight it out for the Grammy.
I'm just going to tell you who was there. We had Moxley. We had Star Jr. We had Claudio coming in. We had Esfinge. Did I pronounce that right? I probably fucked that up real bad.
You know, you pronounce something. All right, you pronounce something. All right, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Blackpool Combat Club took the win on this, and, I mean, Moxley fought hard for his life, but, I mean, Claudio got the power bomb, and then eventually it was just all over. But after the match, Moxley got the mic and was like, take that message back to the rest of the guys at CMLL in Mexico or anywhere else, which I kind of thought was fucked up, because you know what, like, what do you got against Mexico? John Moxley. I know there's
Yeah.
like AAA wrestling is there, and they're great. Shout out to Vampiro, Sexy Star, all them excellent luchadors. But then FTR came out, and then they get in the ring, and Moxley and Dax Hardwood had a little scuffle, and then the officials came in to break it up. But then wrestlers came in to also break it up. It was a House of Black dusty finish.
It was. It was. And you know, they had some really good moves in that. There was this one. Okay, I'm gonna say dance move. It was a wrestling move. However, I have seen it in the dance world before, where it's like they kind of bend backwards.
Uh-huh.
Which I saw that and I was like, oh wow, love a good crossover moment.
Oh yeah, I mean there's so much choreography in making sure that those uppercuts and those roll-ups don't actually kill the other human beings.
Exactly. But speaking of killing, there was a knee strike that seemed very real. It it
Oh
just
yeah.
it just I saw that and I was like, oh boy, that did not seem fake. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it was real or do you think it was
What I think was real was the pain. As a professional bitch and professional giver of pain, I know when someone is faking the hurt. Like, oh no. Like, you see it in soccer all the time, where one guy just runs near another guy and the guy drops to the ground. Is like, oh my God, my fucking leg. No. In wrestling, there is like a man trying not to cry and throw up at the same time. And sometimes you see him. You see him throw up a little bit when they get hit in the stomach area. And so that pain looked real. And I mean, I like the show. So I hope the men are okay to perform again for me later.
love that?
Yeah. I mean, it just man on man violence, lady on lady violence, intergender violence. I enjoy it all.
Just violence. Violence in
Speaking
general.
speaking of violence, did you watch Joe Bob's violent Valentine's Day special?
I did, and oof, that was fun. Did you watch it?
Of course, I watched it. I watch every Lost Drive-In. I
And
enjoy
what was
all
the
the
best
movies.
part?
Oh my God! Not only did Joe Bob read my Valentine that I sent him with my underwear, a bra, a pair of fuzzy handcuffs, he did not even notice the strap-on harness that I wrapped lovingly around the box. But he read my letter, and then they talked about my favorite fetish, financial domination, where men who adore me give me money because they like it. I like it too. But it was so delightful. And then the movies, like the movies. So shout out, thank you, Joe Bob and Darcy, for talking me up on the last drive-in. Love that shit. I will be your drive-in dominatrix any day. It's like, I
Coming
have
to a theater near you.
I have all the equipment. So, back to the wrestling and the man pain. Sorry, I got off on a little
Yes.
tangent there, but man pain, violence. Our next match was Sexy Dance, Daniel Garcia versus Shane Taylor. Does Shane Taylor have a gimmick? Have we given him a gimmick?
I don't think he has the gimmick yet. I think we need to see him a few more times to kind of see what the vibe is given.
He's right now he's like create a character wrestler, like you're just at the beginning of the video game and it's
Yeah.
like Shane Taylor. But I need something. I need like a dinosaur suit or I don't know,
I
something.
I like I like the dinosaur suit idea.
Listeners, please nominate a gimmick for Shane Taylor and tweet that or tag us in your thoughts because I want to give him something more than basic. But Shane mocked the Daniel Garcia dance, which I think is what ultimately led to his karmic loss. Daniel Garcia was able to destroy him after, the mockeries. Like, don't mock this man and his dance. Brendan is nodding. Brendan, the listeners cannot hear
I
you nod.
I am not. That was for the video watchers only. Exclusive content.
We did think that Garcia wasn't going to make it a couple times. Like, there were a couple times in this match where he looked like he was really struggling. Like, can I even get up on the knee? Or, as in wrestling, we call it the vertical base. If you're lying on your back or lying on your stomach or rolled up in a ball, that's no good. You need the vertical base in order to succeed. So Garcia managed to keep like attacking and ultimately won in the end. But I noticed that commentary was like, is Christian Cage watching? Is he nervous? Because of course, Revolution is coming, right?
It is kind of like in Game of Thrones, where winter is coming.
It's always coming. The pay-per-view is always coming. The next challenger is always coming. Just like a kingdom, you can never rest on your laurels once you've won the
And
belt because someone else is always coming
there,
for it.
yep, there will always be that other person.
That's right. And you
Always.
better
And
watch your back. Mistress Harley might be coming for it.
that actually would be great. I would love that. That would be the plot twist that, like, ah,
Oh yeah, no one would see that fucking coming. Also, why aren't there more dominatrixes in wrestling? I mean, we have Dalton Castle and his boys. We have Ass Daddy. Like, I mean, there's a lot of BDSM and kinky themes in wrestling. And I'm not even talking about the half-naked men in their underpants hugging. So our next match was a squash match. You know, I always complain about these like 5-minute matches. It was Brian Cage versus the Outrunners, and Hook showed up. And
mm-hmm.
there was, okay, so Brian Cage won. It was like over so fast, but then Cage attacked Chance the mascot, and then Hook shows up, and the fight goes into the backstage. I love a nice backstage fight. How did you like this segment?
Well, I love a little Hook moment. I feel like it's been a hot minute, you know. I thought this was one of my favorite moments. I'm curious to see how this transpires over the next few weeks.
I
I'm a little
like
curious.
I like that Hook keeps getting involved. I appreciate that
Yes.
his character is like a little chaos. And I appreciate chaos in wrestling. You know, we kind of complained a little bit when they were doing the Continental Classic, and it was kind of like baseball. It was all these like numbers, like this guy's got 5 points, this guy's got 4 points. Wrestling is about chaos, man. It's about the match and the belts, and then a grudge, and then other guys, and I've talked before about the famous Dusty finish. Dusty Rhodes was famous
Yep.
for finishing the matches in his promotion with like all the guys running and it's a mess. And I enjoy it. I do. It sets it up for plot.
It's fun and like going back to it, it's like Hook is like chaotic, but kind of like Skater Boy chaotic, where it's like
Yes.
everything is super chill, but then you look at what he's done, and you're like, oh, it's a little chaos. There's a little bit of chaos.
Yeah, he's the chill guy who passes you the joint, and then you see him spray painting on the 27th floor of the abandoned high rise
Yep.
downtown LA across from Crypto.
But you didn't even see it on his Instagram. You saw it on his friend's story who tagged him because he
Oh,
just doesn't talk about it. It's
oh,
just not.
and I thought we were friends with Hook. Hook, we are friends of you and the podcast. You can join the podcast anytime. After this segment with Brian Cage and the Outrunners, we had Lexi interviewing the Kingdom and Ishii. And I don't know, fuck the Kingdom. They say that they're mad, and Strong says that all that matters is that he wins, and then I'll be breaking everybody at Revolution, winning the international title, and he wanted it for 8 years. Like, honey, if you haven't gotten something after 8 years, maybe you're not good at it. After 8 years, you could have a double PhD, but instead you're still chasing a title, huh?
That was tea. Yep. For the listeners, just take a little sip of your coffee now. Take a little sip of your coffee.
Hey, I'm a woman that admires achievement. I myself have a lot of achievement. But the whole point of wrestling is to have accolades, to be able to say how much better you are than people, and not like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been chasing a thing and I can't have it. Wah. So that's what that was. You can watch it yourself and see how you feel, listeners. But then Adam Copeland comes out and is interviewed by Tony Schiavone. But before he can even ask a question, the fans are like screaming for him. And he's like proud dad, you know? I don't think he
He
thought
did
that.
give off that.
Yeah, I don't think he thought he'd be at this point in his career and the fans would just be drowning him out with love, which was fun.
That's
But
nice.
then Copeland is like, he insults Nigel McGuinness and tells him to shut his mouth. And I agree, Nigel McGuinness is a boring commentator. So is Excalibur. Replace them all with women. Then he's like, he's gonna come for the Young Bucks because he's mad about what they did to Sting and Darby Allin. He should also be mad about like CM Punk and Jericho and other things. Like, fuck the Young Bucks. I continue. I will die on this hill. Fuck the Young Bucks. But then what he really wants to do is challenge Eddie Kingston for all the champions. But then there's always Christian Cage. Christian Cage is like this bone, and he's the dog. He just like cannot stay away from Christian. Is it a love story?
Maybe not a love story, maybe more of an infatuation, you know?
A 30-year infatuation. Brendan, these guys have been wrestling each other together since WWE was WWF.
So maybe then infatuation's the wrong word. Maybe I should say situationship.
Maybe they have
A
a
30-year.
bromance, a situational bromance. I don't know.
They have an ongoing situationship. Yeah.
How about tag, it's
Yeah.
complicated? You know, it's just when you guys have been wrestling each other for this long, it's like when you break up with someone, but you're still always talking about them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So while Adam Copeland is still talking about his ex, Daniel Garcia's music comes again, and Copeland looks a little confused, but Garcia is like, well, you deserve a title shot, and also, you know, maybe we should have a last man standing match, and they're all about it. They're all about it. So, you know, like, he wants the TNT title. Copeland wants to do a match on Dynamite, and then the last man standing is going to fight Christian.
Yeah. That yeah.
Okay,
That
so you
sums it
just
up.
agree with the plot. All right.
Listen,
After
I'm running
that,
off of a little sleep here, so
okay, so wake up, Brendan. Wake up, wake up. Because
I'm trying
next
now.
is the ladies.
Oh, you mean
We
the best part
get-
of the show?
Yes, Renee Paquette was interviewing Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale and talking about the addition of Stokely Hathaway, and he is there. And obviously there's something going on there because he's all about these two ladies and he's like so in love with them. And Statlander is like, why do Sky and Julia keep coming back? You're so hung up on your past. And so it was all tea. It was all lady tea. And so Chris asks Stokely to make it official. But then she's like, Tony Khan has you blocked. Do you think Tony Khan has Stokely blocked?
I don't think Tony Khan has Stokely blocked. I didn't check the Instagram to see if they follow each other. I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan doesn't follow back.
I mean,
I think
to be fair,
know.
Tony Khan uses social media for heat, right? We know this.
I don't think he blocks. I think it's either an unfollow or it just didn't follow. And they're like, oh, he blocked me. No, babe, he just doesn't follow you.
How about the soft block where you block somebody and then you unblock them and now they are unfollowed to you?
Now that I could see being a thing as well. I forgot about the soft block.
Oh, yeah. I have to soft block bitches all the time.
I forgot about that.
Yes. Only nice boys and boys with money in my DMs. Thank you. So we get a Brody King, Mark Briscoe match. You know I like crazy eyes, Mark Briscoe. Brody
Yes,
King is
yes,
just this huge fucking dude. He's just so heavy. My favorite part of this match is where Briscoe tried to lift up Brody King, but he was too heavy and he just couldn't do it. He was just like trying and then just gave up.
But listen, it was an entertaining moment. We appreciate the effort. He really tried. Maybe
He
needs
tried
to go to
his
the gym.
best.
He tried.
Oh!
He tried. He tried.
Yeah. I
So
mean, okay, what is Brody King billed at? Like, what is his weight billed at? Is he like 350 pounds? Because that's a lot of training to be able to pick up that much weight. But also, I know this. If you've ever tried to pick up a human being, it's not the same as picking up a barbell. Barbells are nice and stable. Humans are all floppy like bags of laundry. So to try to pick up somebody like Brody King
it's
is
like,
like you're picking up like 5 bags of laundry stacked on top of each other.
yep. It's like moist, damp laundry. You couldn't put it in the dryer. You have to take it out to hang up.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like 6 feet tall, and so most of my friends, when I hug them, I can actually pick them up, and sometimes I can squeeze them hard enough to crack their backs, and sometimes I can squeeze them hard enough to make them pass out, which is a classic wrestling move called the bear hug.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah, if you just like grab someone and hold them like in a hard snuggle until they pass out, that's a bear hug. That's a wrestling move.
Love that.
Yeah, and King does that move because he is a huge dude. So obviously Brody King won this one. But then the ref goes to check on Crazy Eyes, and King pushes the ref away and holds him up so that Hart could hit him in the head with a spike. And, like House of Black, the house always wins. But, like, dude, what a sport Crazy Eyes Mark Briscoe is.
It. That whole yes, yes. That yes.
I really liked this match. I liked it because it felt like a little David and Goliath, a little like someone who wouldn't give up and would just get their ass kicked in trying. There's a little respect there for me. What about
There
you?
is. It brought this one to me. Kind of brought that razzle dazzle. It. You could see like a story in there or some sort. Yep. Give him the Chicago hands, girl. Yes.
Jazz hands.
Um. But. But yeah. It brought like that fun energy, like you said, kind of like the David and Goliath. It was a fun moment. I do want House of Black though. In my notes here, like I have a thing that's like more witchy. They need to go back to doing more dark witchy shit. Like they need to throw stuff like smoke in people's faces. They need to summon a demon or something. There needs to be a little
I agree.
something more.
I loved that gimmick when they were like, I have a picture of your family and now I'm going to set it on fire. It's dumb. It's dumb, but still a little spooky and in the perfect way. Like, maybe it's just me, but when I got into wrestling, I went back and watched all the old wrestling from the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. And some of that, like, really silly stuff just pulled me in and made me like the characters even more.
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate a
Like
man
that.
that's willing to be silly. I appreciate a man that's willing to humiliate himself and hurt himself and sacrifice his body for my pleasure and entertainment. Wrestling.
Violence is always the answer.
I'm always surprised more kinky people aren't into wrestling, or maybe they are. Maybe all the wrestlers just love getting punched in the nuts and submitted. That's something I'd love to ask. Like, do you enjoy it? Because I have to feel like if you get into that business, maybe you like getting hit in the face. Maybe. Just saying.
I
But
never thought of that.
speaking of getting hit in the face, we got a promo from bounty hunter Brian Keith, and he's like, payday. And so he wants his payday, he wants to climb the ranks and get his bounty, which I guess metaphorically in wrestling is the belt. However, what a great opportunity for writing. What if he thinks one of the other guys is a criminal and he's trying to get him as his actual bounty? And then later he realizes that it's a mistaken identity and he's been hunting this guy. He became a pro wrestler all for the wrong reasons. Like, wouldn't that be a great little bit of storytelling, wrestling?
I really enjoy this. Keep going with it.
Yeah, and then once he realizes his bounty is the wrong guy, he has to apologize, but now he loves wrestling and now he's addicted to trying to get the belt, and the belt truly has become his bounty. But then you can keep it going. Add a new guy to wrestling. What if that guy is a criminal, has a secret criminal past? Like, there's writing there. It's just, I watch soap operas, I watch movies, I watch everything. When you're rich, you have all this time to watch movies and TV. So it's, just give me something. I love AEW and they've set it up and I want them to hit the ball. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I
and
do.
speaking of the ball, for those of you watching the Superb Owl today, there are balls in that sport. I hear occasionally we get a nice ball chuck or ball hit here in wrestling. But yeah, he's Brian Keith. He's a bounty hunter. Okay, so women's match. Deonna Purrazzo. Did I say it right?
I think you did. That sounds Italian-y enough.
Purrazzo. Yeah,
Yeah, with more hands.
I'm just gonna do like a fish called Wanda, like linguine, fettuccine, Purrazzo. Okay, so if you haven't watched A Fish Called Wanda, go watch that movie right now and then come back to the podcast later. So, Deonna Purrazzo versus Kiera Hogan. Purrazzo defeated Hogan pretty fast. Like, there
She did.
was a drop kick from the top, and it just pretty much, like, Purrazzo, I thought she was dead for a minute, but she came back. She did a running knee and a Russian leg sweep, and then double arm bar, and it was over. It was so fast, but it was
But it was,
also like
yeah,
dancing.
it was. And it was so like, it was great. Like they were throwing each other everywhere. Like it was so much fun to watch. And it was like, but again, it ended too quickly. But it
I
was great.
agree. I would have liked a
It
longer women's match.
it's you know what it reminds me of? You know when you're watching, I mean it could be an asylum movie or it could be a lower budget horror film where there's a really cool death scene, but it's like or a really cool visual effect shot, but you know that they like didn't have the money to continue it. It felt like that where it's like we have a really cool thing, but we can only do it for this amount of time. And you just want more and you're just like, okay, I want more.
Yeah,
When
it's
are we
that
gonna see it again?
that 3 seconds of goodness and then a cut away, and you're like, no, what happened to that guy's face? Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
agree. And, the women really do get time on this show. I mean, in all the AEW shows, they
They
always
do.
have women's matches, but I would love to see them incorporate some classic gimmicks. So, like an Iron Man match, that's a match that goes for a full hour, no stopping. Those wrestlers have to have the greatest cardio, they have to have strength, they have to have eaten their protein the night before. Like, that's a true match of an athlete. And so I'd love to see some stuff like that, or a lumber lady match, lumberjack match,
Like
where
that. Okay.
there are two women in the ring and then all the other women are around the outside of the ring. And if a woman gets thrown out of the ring, the women on the outside like beat her up and throw her back in the ring. There's just a lot of gimmick matches. And even recently, I saw a classic strap match. WWE did a strap match with Cody Rhodes, and I really enjoyed it. It was classic. So, more gimmicks. Just like you said, more spooky, more gimmicks, more writing. Just give me more.
All
So,
right, Britney Spears, let's go.
yeah. So before Perazzo could like really celebrate her win, Toni Storm came out and was of course insanely beautiful, looked incredible, and she had a match with Queen Aminata. It was like the battle
Yes,
of the best fucking dress. Like they were going to the
it
Grammys
was.
after this. They looked
They
so good.
they happened to stop by AEW just on their way.
Yeah,
They
yeah, they
had to
needed
pop
to
in.
beat the shit out of each other, throw all their shoes, and then go to the Grammys.
And Queen Amita, it's Amita, right?
I say
Amitana,
Aminata, but maybe I'm
Aminata.
saying it wrong. Yeah.
No, Aminata sounds good because I'm looking at my notes right now and I was like, Amita, no, Amita sounds like a singer. Aminata sounds like, but this one, I mean, this one was brutal and it was good and it was fun. And
Oh
like,
my
I'm
god, it was so
curious.
fun. Aminata
I'm,
rubbed her ass in Toni Storm's face. And Toni Storm was like, "How dare you?" Like the best response to having someone rub their ass in your face if you're not into it. How dare you?
that's true.
A little ass to mouth. But yeah, then I mean, so Toni Storm did win the match. Spoiler alert. I don't know why you're listening if you're not into the spoiler alert. But Storm was like, she was on it, and she did a pile driver that looked great. Uh, the pile driver is a delicate maneuver because just like a dance, you have to do it without murdering your partner. So many people have received actual broken necks from pile drivers, including, I believe, Kurt Angle. I might be wrong. Fact checked me. I don't even care. You guys know pile drivers break necks. So, you know, Toni Storm pulling it off in a way where I was not worried about the other person, like, nice.
Have there been any moves that have been like deemed illegal because they're too dangerous?
Oh, yes. So The
Ooh.
Undertaker does the Tombstone Pile Driver. And that is one where a lot of people, when they attempt it, it's where the other person, so if I'm standing and I'm holding you, Brendan, you are facing me upside down and I am holding you around the waist. And to do
Mm-hmm.
it correctly, your head should be above my knee. Because when I drop down onto my knees, if your head is below my knee, all the impact of that fall will go directly into your neck and spine. And that's the point of doing it if you're actually trying to kill another human being. But if you want to see your coworkers tomorrow, you have to do it properly. And so many people have dropped the other person. I have seen it happen where someone is about to do that pile driver and they drop the person and the head goes down below the knee and you're like, no, no, no. And we don't actually want these people to die, right?
Yeah. We needs to be fun, needs to look brutal, but not actually. Don't wanna see that.
No, it's the most incredible improv combat art dance because when I go to the ballet, I love the ballet. I always know that the Nutcracker is not going to win at the end. There's no version of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker where the Nutcracker wins and then it's all the presents are taken away and Christmas is ruined for the children. But wrestling is where you don't know if the Nutcracker's going to win. But they're still doing a lot of those moves, a lot of those lifts, a lot of those twirls, a lot of those flips, and putting their life into other people's hands. You got to hold me exactly right, or you will kill Queen Aminata. So, nice job, Toni Storm. Nice job.
Love that.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, Toni Storm knows she's great. So afterwards, she talks about, she's like, I am a technically brilliant wrestler. And she is. She is. She's very good. And then she says she's going to have a brand new film on Dynamite. And that the wart on Peraza's butthole will haunt her the rest of her life. I think this is the first time I've actually heard people talk about buttholes in wrestling. Maybe I am forgetting, but you know. Get that HPV checked out at your local Planned Parenthood, please.
I'm curious. Yeah. Yeah. I have questions. I have
Oh, what are your
questions.
questions? No one is here. When the cats are away, the mice will play. Let us get raunchy. What are your filthy butthole questions?
No, I'm just like, why'd she bring that up?
Well, because Aminata rubbed her ass in Toni Storm's face. So I imagine
That's
that
true.
Toni was up in there with that ass to mouth POV and was like, ooh, Deanna, HPV, no.
I hope she said it just like that too.
Look, I know nothing. I am speculating, hypothesizing. I have not seen the butthole in question. We're just chit chatting here on the Awesome Podcast, and this is butthole content you are not going to get on other podcasts. But speaking of butthole content, we have the main event featuring
We
Basic
do.
Bitch Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii. Look, Orange Cassidy won, but Ishii is a superior wrestler. If anything, Ishii put Cassidy over, giving him the win, letting him look good. What do you think?
I fully agree with that. Also, my title for this was yes, another slap match.
Uh-huh. It's the chop slap. Remember those infomercials from the 2000s with like the slap chop or the slap chop? I always think of that when
Yes,
they do those little slap fight chop battles, like get into it with the slap chop. But yeah, there was a lot of working in this match, at least. Like, okay, Cassidy had his hands in his pockets. He was probably diddling himself. But, Ishii no sold it. Like, in wrestling, Brendan, maybe you don't know this. When a man hits another man and the other man kind of shrugs it off, like, whatever, that's called no selling. Meaning, I'm not going to sell your move. I'm not going to make you look cool to these people just because you slapped me. That's dumb.
I like that. That's a vibe right there.
Yeah, no selling. Like, you can no sell during sex too. If someone's trying really hard to make you orgasm and you just stone face them and don't. No sell.
The no sell move.
This is content you
I like.
definitely won't get on other podcasts, you guys.
Now,
But what?
well, no, this is jumping to our bestie Orange Cassidy, but girl, I think it's time for him to switch up the jeans. He can keep the same style, but maybe change the color. Maybe do black jeans. Maybe do a little rips.
You
Maybe
ever go to
do.
the gym and see that guy who's literally wearing the same pair of jeans and like the same dirty, like camp, whatever, 1995 shirt, like forever? And he's always in
Yep,
the same clothes and he's there every day. And
yep,
you're starting to worry the dude like does not have other clothes.
yep. And you're just like, okay, okay, right,
He's just got no
right.
flair. He's got no gimmick. When I think of the best wrestlers, my favorite wrestlers, they're the wrestlers that had the most flair, the most gimmick. Ric Flair, literally Flair, and his giant robes. Randy the Macho Man Savage and his insane, like the cream of the crop. Ravishing Rick Rude and his sexy dance. He'd come out and make the women fucking want him. Like, I love a gimmick. And just Orange Cassidy, like, dear Orange Cassidy, a man wearing sweatpants with his hands in his pockets is not a gimmick. That's a guy who won't get off the bus.
I agree. And again, time and place. Like he's cool. I just think he needs to do something, even if it's only like a week or two. Just something to kind of give a little kick. It's like adding cayenne pepper to your coffee. It just gives a little kick. Don't have to do it
Wait,
every day.
pause. You add fucking cayenne pepper to your coffee?
I've done it sometimes. You mix it in there, a little cayenne pepper. You put some cinnamon in there.
Why? Why would you do this?
I like spicy stuff.
Oh, Brendan's
Yeah.
spicy. For the listeners at home, now you know, Brendan is spicy.
I love good spicy coffee. There's a great place as well in Long Beach. I don't remember the name, but they have this like they call it. It's like the Mexican mocha, and it's like a spicy latte, and it is awesome.
I do enjoy a Mexican hot chocolate, which is spicy as well. So
Ooh,
now
yes.
that we've discussed our favorite spicy beverages, we can get back to this unspicy match between Orange Cassidy and Ishii. So, it was kind of the same. Like, Cassidy did some great, like, I don't know, there was a vertical suplex on the second rope. Like, that was pretty cool. But I felt like it was really Ishii who was doing all the fucking work.
You could tell.
Yeah.
You could tell.
Uh,
Again, no shade, no shade,
Well, I'm
but
just shading the character. Look, listeners, I know that the character of Orange Cassidy is different than the human being that goes home and does human being shit. But my criticism is of the character. Like, give him magic powers. I don't know, convert him to the dark side. Have him kill a bunch of Jedi children. Again, in gimmick. Because that's just something that's more interesting than a guy with his hands in his pockets. Writing. Writing. Listen, I'm doing the writing for free here on the Awesome Pod. So, I guess since that brings us to the end of the show,
it does.
there was the Kingdom came out after, and there was a scuffle, and so then Ishii had to run back down the ramp to run off the kingdom, and then Beretta was there with a chair to protect Orange Cassidy. I always
Mm-hmm.
hate this gimmick of having to protect the winner. Like, the champion shouldn't need security guards. The guy who
No.
won shouldn't need to be protected from the guy who lost. If you're the champion, like, you guys have watched Conan at home. If you haven't watched Conan, watch Conan. He does
Yeah,
not need guards because he is the fucking brutalist warrior. And isn't that what the show's kind of all about?
it is. And it's like, again, like with what you said, it's like they're the champions. They won for a reason.
Right.
Like, you know, they're not weak. They're not fragile. They don't have bones made out of glass. Like,
Ah,
why, like maybe if they're trying to destroy the trophy, I can see why you would have more people around. But
yeah.
it's like they don't automatically win, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I can't. I'm dainty. It's like
Yeah. All of a
I just
sudden,
saw you
oh
pile drive
no.
someone. Oh no, I can't do it. Oh, oh,
If
the heat.
anything,
Boom.
the winner of the match should get handed a taser so that when anybody tries to challenge them afterwards, it's like your official winner's taser here. Zzz, zzz, and just, I'm the winner. Stay away from
Mm-hmm.
me. Because isn't that
Mm-hmm.
what happens? Don't you just get superior force?
Yes.
So, let us talk about awards.
Yes.
So, we have the Hero of the Week award, the Dewey Riley Hero of the Week
We
award.
do.
Who was your hero this
I
week, Brendan?
I'm gonna give it to Queen Aminata
Ooh,
because she's newer and I love her style. I also love her accent. I could listen to her talk all day. I don't care what she talks about. She's so cool.
describe the
Um,
accent.
it's shit. I think she's I think she's Nigerian. I
Okay.
think. I think. But don't quote me on that. Um,
So you just love listening
but
to her talk. You're an audiophile.
yeah. And I just remember every time she talks, I'm like, I love her voice. Um, but don't quote me on where she's from because I haven't looked it up. Um,
Okay.
but I love like the energy that she brings. And I know she didn't win this time, but I I'm excited to see where she goes.
I am giving my Hero of the Week award to Daniel Garcia and his sexy dance. He's
Okay.
unafraid to embrace his sexy dance and show it to the world, no matter how much people dislike it. And even when his opponents mock him, fuck them.
Okay. Okay. That's solid. That's
I feel
solid.
like he's the ultimate do you character right now. Like, just do you. Whatever you like, you should do that. And don't let haters hate you down because fuck them. They don't matter. Block out the haters and do your sexy dance. So, what about the Christian Cage Dick of the Week award?
I kind of want to give it to Hook for just running out there randomly.
You're giving it to Hook?
But like, I liked it.
I thought you like Hook.
I do. But
Okay,
I
all
can't
right.
think of I can't think of I don't know. No one else seems that I don't know. I don't know. I'm giving it to
I
Hook this
unusually I'm giving it to Toni Storm because as
week.
much as I really like Toni Storm and I really like her gimmick, after you do ass to mouth play, you shouldn't tell people what you saw in other people's buttholes. I know that it's wrestling and I know you didn't like it, but you signed up for it, girl.
It comes with the job.
That's right. A little ass to
Comes with
mouth
the job.
definitely comes with this job. I have seen taint grabs. I have seen ass to face. Like their Rashiki, his signature move was ass to face. Like he just gets somebody in the corner and fucking ass to face them. It was incredible, and he had a huge ass. So, like, you got to know what you're signing up for. If you show up to the porno party and people try to fuck you, you cannot be mad about it. That's all I'm saying.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
What about the Freddy versus Jason showdown or match of the week?
I'm gonna give it to Toni Storm.
Ooh, it was a really good match.
It was
I
quite nice.
I agree. I would take 3 Toni Storm matches. Give her 3 belts. Make her as equitable as Eddie Kingston. Give her that many belts, have her defend them. I would watch that many Toni Storm matches.
You know, I want to see like a Toni Storm cage match. Yeah.
Yes.
But kind of like that feeds into like the vintage pinup thing. So it's kind of like a, but if they mixed it with like kind of a Pam Grier, like caged heat type thing where they had a little bit of a plot behind it where like she's arrested, she's in jail, she has to fight her way out, just give it a little. Yeah.
I propose a disco cage match. So I'm taking your
Ooh.
70s theme. Yes, women in prison. Yes, and adding the disco ball because disco balls have definitely been used as weapons in wrestling and it is always fantastic.
I would love to see that. That would be great. Here's another thing I'm going to add on to it. I heard that this year at the Super Bowl, they have a live DJ playing throughout the whole thing.
Is the DJ an owl, a superb owl?
I think it was supposed to be Tiesto, I think, and then he dropped out.
Oh.
And then, but can you imagine watching this Toni Storm disco cage match while like you have Diplo or something just DJing on the side, just like low enough, but it's like it's still going. Like,
Yeah, that would be fun.
that's a mood.
Why
Anyways,
doesn't wrestling get as much attention as the superb owl? The owl doesn't even have costumes. The owl like has the most basic costumes as you root for a color. Like no, the men aren't even naked. Stop with your owl. Okay, what about the Ric Flair Fashion Award? Speaking of best dressed.
Queen Aminata.
I
Done.
agree. I agree.
Done.
Toni Storm's outfits are incredible, but they are also kind of limited to a time period genre. And I respect it's hard to work with in that kind of silent film period. So it's not like there's a huge number of options, but I want to see like more ridiculous headpieces, hats. The 20s was a time of ridiculous hats. If we could work in some of those Titanic hats, use them as a weapon while I'm doing the writing. But when no one else is here, it's just me and Brendan talking about fantasy wrestling. Yes.
Maybe one day we'll do like a fake episode where it's like we pick like 5 random masks, we make it up, and just discuss.
Brendan, that's just our private time.
I love it.
So that brings us to our wrap up. Do you have anything you want to promote?
I do. So, I have the short film that came out called The Night Jane Went Insane. You can see it on YouTube, Vimeo, all of that. Brink Stevens, Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer. Fun, artsy film by my friend Zach. And then Diana and I did a movie, Joe Bob is in it too, called Slasher Size, directed by Amalia. And that will be out in festivals at some point this year. Don't know when, but it's been shot. It's coming out. It's fun. It's crazy. We have a shit ton of cameos of people in there.
Well, you're going to keep us updated on when and where we can see that, right, Brendan?
Absolutely. But right now, just keep stalking the Instagrams.
Yeah, and I am Mistress Harley, world famous dominatrix. I recommend you watch the Joe Bob Last Drive-In Violent Valentine's Day special. Listen to cool people talk about how awesome I am, because it's all true. Everything you've heard about me is true. So be afraid and give me your money. So, namaste, W.
Namaste, W.
See you next time, raggedy bitches.
Yeah.